Was it getting hazy here or what? Oh well. I'm over by half a stop. He's barely moving. I was hoping he'd be real long. Wave to Fred.
Japanese conductor.
No, there's not. Stay out of the shot there, Bill, till he gets clear.
Sorry. That's awful fast for 25 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's about 25.
Looks pretty funny to see Fred blinking in there.
Bet you won't see him for long. Nice that it's dark up in here.
Good evening. An Amtrak train rammed into a fire truck tonight in Calverton, Virginia, killing at least 3 people. Dozens of people have been injured. Authorities say they are not sure if anyone is buried under the twisted wreckage. CNN's Bob Franken is on the scene and has this report.
Several hours after the derailment, there was still a lot of activity at the scene as ambulances were seen moving injured people in and out from the train wreck scene, and various wreckage vehicles were going back and forth trying to remove the train. It is the Southern Crescent Amtrak 19 that derailed about 7:40 p.m., an hour after it had left Washington's Union Station.
I was in the washroom, and the next thing I knew, the doors were rattling, and I went flying and hit my head and just hit everywhere. I rolled around, and the car went over very slowly.
And then what happened?
I got out of there very quickly. I was the only one in.
There were a total of 279 passengers and 20 crew members aboard. Estimates on the number of injured range from 40 or 50 all the way up to 150. The confirmed death count is now 3. Apparently all the victims were on a fire truck that collided with the train. The fire truck was on its way to an accident run when there was a collision at a private road crossing. 11 cars derailed, 5 were left standing, 2 engines also derailed. On the scene, officials set up a field hospital and brought school buses in to run the uninjured passengers away from the scene, and then ambulances took the injured to local hospitals. No official report has been made yet. Officials are still on the scene. The next effort will be to bring cranes in that will try and remove the Amtrak train from the tracks. Bob Franken, CNN, Parker County, Virginia.
A powerful bomb.
Good afternoon. Southern Pacific is calling it a major derailment, causing more than 3 dozen cars to overturn and jump the track. It happened just before 4 o'clock this morning in Butte County at the south end of Durham. Channel 12's Debbie Cobb has been out there all morning. She's standing by live in Durham with a full report. Debbie?
Wendy, Southern Pacific Railway officials and the CDF, the lead agency handling this incident, are still trying to figure out exactly what happened around 4 o'clock this morning. There were 38 cars and 3 engines involved. Freight train looks like a twisted accordion. 90% of the 38 cars involved are damaged. The derailment stretches across 1/8 of a mile of Southern Pacific tracks. It was carrying mostly lumber, although some of the cars were carrying potentially dangerous materials.
All right, at this point we have a chlorine tank car that the exterior shell has been ruptured, but the interior shell is intact. No fumes are being given off at this time, and it is stable. We also have a ammonium nitrate, which is a fertilizer spill, and that's okay as long as it doesn't get wet, and I don't anticipate any rain. So
this is one tank that initially raised some concern. It carries combustible materials such as ethyl nitrate, insecticides, and fuel oil, but today it was empty. The train was en route from Reading to Roseville. There were only 3 men on board, the conductor, a brakeman, and an engineer. None of them were injured. The derailment will put a stop to the East Valley Southern Pacific, and traffic will have to be rerouted into Hama County.
We're diverting traffic via our West Valley line that runs through Davis, so we'll be able to continue our freight traffic operation.
Southern Pacific estimates the cleanup will take anywhere from 24 to 36 hours. Now, Wendy, we are just starting to get a little bit more feedback on exactly what's happening. With me now is Battalion Chief Mike Chirac from CDF and Butte County Fire. Thanks for joining us, Mike. Explain a little bit. I understand that you guys know what the cause of this incident is.
Well, we have representatives from the Federal Rail Administration and the Public Utilities out investigating, and that's their responsibilities, and they haven't released that information to the fire department. National Transportation Board is also en route from Washington. They tell me to look into the cause, so I can't comment on the exact cause.
Okay, one thing had been mentioned about a fractured rail line. Is there anything to that?
I heard them talking about it in their conversations, but they haven't come to us and released that officially.
Okay, now as I mentioned earlier, Wendy, we mentioned that there were 3 people on the train, none of which were injured. I understand that there was also a search for possible transients that might have been riding on the line when it was traveling through here.
Yeah, there was a real concern. When we arrived out here in the early morning hours when it was dark, we had debris all over the roadway and cars, and we didn't know who was on it. So we did a primary search for maybe transients or maybe people in the area. And then as daylight came, did a secondary, and so far there's no missing people that have showed up.
Okay, a lot of lumber and debris on the Midway. How long are you estimating that it'll take before the Midway reopens?
The rail company tells us 24 to 48 hours. They hope to have the rail service back in. The reason it's being closed is because they have all this heavy equipment working and a couple of hazardous cargoes to take care of before they can open it.
All right, thank you very much, Mike Sherrock from CDF Butte County Fire. One side note to this, Wendy, about 150 Pacific Bell workers and customers with the 893 and 894 prefix are without service. Service is expected to be restored about midnight tonight, and that is because, according to Pacific Bell, because a replacement cable must be brought up from San Leandro. So that's going to wrap it up from here south of Durham. Reporting live, I'm Debbie Cobb. Wendy?
Debbie, one quick question. No evacuations then?
That's right. Initially, as I reported, that there were hazardous chemicals involved in some of the cars. They thought they may have had to evacuate some of the residents in the area. That never took place. The incident was stabilized immediately, and no one was ever in any threat of any danger whatsoever.
Thank you very much. Debbie Cobb reporting live from Durham.
A runaway freight train derails in Pico Rivera, stopping within inches of one home and forcing the evacuation of others.
And at the Helsinki summit, George Bush and Mikhail Gorbachev joined forces in a warning to Saddam Hussein. Good evening. We're going to bring you up to date on the Gulf crisis in tonight's edition of Fox News. I'm Michelle Holden.
And I'm Bill Ritter, but first we'll tell you about that train derailment in Pico Rivera. 14 runaway freight cars collided head-on with a Union Pacific train engine. Then 9 of the cars jumped the track. The wreckage damaged 7 buildings and caused a small fire. Barbara Schroeder has the story.
The wreckage came perilously close to this house. Martha Cervantes was feeding her baby in the kitchen when she saw the bizarre sight of a train headed towards her.
And I just started screaming for my kids to get out because I ran out, and then the cop told me I couldn't go back and get my kids, so I just started panicking. And he just ran upstairs because they were asleep still.
Well, no matter what, I had to go in there and I'll die with them, I wasn't gonna let, run out there, leave them out there,
The reason authorities were already at the scene warning people like the Cervantes was because they had advance notice a train was on the loose. 14 cars from the Southern Pacific Rail Yard in the City of Industry, 15 miles from this site, were being switched this morning when they somehow got loose. No one was on board. The cars traveled at speeds of up to 30 miles per hour for those 15 miles before slamming headfirst into a Union Pacific engine. The crew on the engine was warned and escaped moments before impact. This backyard, covered with some of the train debris, actually had a bomb shelter underneath it. Pat Aguilar says it's now clear the shelter in his backyard isn't quite so safe.
It's caved in, I think. I don't know.
So this bomb shelter, which was supposed to protect you, could have
killed me.
A Southern Pacific official who did not want to be interviewed on camera told me that he had no idea how this happened. He also said that in the entire company history, they've never had cars just come loose and fly down a track. He also said they've started an investigation because they want to know, just as much as these homeowners do, just what could have caused this mess. In Pico Rivera, Barbara Schroeder, Fox News.
10 houses on both sides of the tracks were evacuated in case some of the cars tipped over. Railroad officials hope to have at least one track cleared by tomorrow.
Nightcast.
Good evening. Our top news story tonight, a rock slide knocks a freight train off the tracks in the North Valley.
Our Bob Marshall has been on the scene. It's a remote area between Oroville and Quincy in the Feather River Canyon. Bob's back in the newsroom now to tell us just how bad this is.
John and Karina, with about 100 cars in that freight train, this definitely goes down as one of those accidents that could have been a lot worse. As it stands, there are no serious injuries reported. The train's locomotives made it through this tunnel, about 200 feet long, before the rocks broke loose and knocked 10 cars off the tracks. Now, as we said, the wreck is in a remote area right along the Feather River. I had to hike in 3 miles to the scene, and one engineer told me the rock slide could have knocked the train down the embankment if it hit the engine.
No hazmats were on the ground. They're all, and so there's no problem there. Should have the cars up by tomorrow morning sometime. Track open tomorrow afternoon. So nothing to worry about. Just the rock came down and got inside of our train, and that's what we got.
Crews are having a hard time getting heavy equipment into the remote area because the side of the track is so narrow. So they're doing much of the work by hand that they'd usually do with power equipment. And the track is Union Pacific's main line from the East Coast to the Bay Area. But trains are being rerouted on Southern Pacific tracks, so a lot of the supplies that are coming into the earthquake-damaged Bay Area are not going to be delayed. They say things are moving pretty quickly.
All right, that is good news, Bob. Thank you very much for that report.
Love Connection, weekdays at 4 p.m. on KCPM TV 24. KCPM TV 24, Chico, Redding.
Road. An Anaheim man is lucky to be alive. This gray Ford LTD he was driving was totaled after he plowed it into a moving freight train at a crossing on Lincoln Avenue in Anaheim. 66-year-old Ramon Kincannon suffered only minor injuries and was transported to the Western Medical Center. But Anaheim police say it could have been much worse.
In this instance, he wasn't trying to beat the train or get around the guardrail. He just didn't notice it. He's an elderly gentleman, and for whatever reason, he did not notice the train or the guardrail.
No one on board the train was injured. The accident held up traffic on Lincoln Avenue for just about a half hour. Police say the driver of the vehicle will not be cited for any traffic violations.
A number of guy who was nearly on the wrong side of the tracks. Ready, take it away. 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1. The railroads brought 3, 2, 1. The railroads helped 3, 2, 1. The railroads helped build the North State, bringing growth and industry on these railroad tracks. But what the companies were doing was pushing north through Marysville, Chico, and Redding, linking California with the Pacific Northwest.
Cutting it a little close. Okay, now don't forget, next week you will meet.
Elsewhere, thousands evacuated, 100 treated for respiratory problems, and many thousands of fish died. The result of a train derailment on the Sacramento River in Northern California. This is near Dunsmuir. 19,000 gallons of an extremely powerful weed killer leaked into the river from a ruptured tank car. At least 100 people had to be treated after inhaling the fumes. 5 were hospitalized. But it is the fish kill, almost beyond calculation, that is an ecological disaster.
For the next few years, it's probably going to be ruined. And I mean, they've been working on this river since I've been coming up here, planting fish and everything. It's gone. It is gone.
Sacramento River has been a major trout fishery. Fish and game wardens at the scene estimate it may take a year or more for this river to cleanse itself.
And this rail train Sunday night and is now killing fish and making people sick. The dangerous goop tonight is headed toward the state's largest reservoir where Southern California gets some of its precious water. As reporter Kevin McCarty tells us, the experts are still trying to figure out just how toxic this chemical is and what long-term effect it will have on life in and around Lake Shasta.
Nearly 2 days after the crash, the tanker that dumped nearly 20,000 gallons of poison is finally pulled from the Sacramento River. Crews wearing protective gear took no chances while working with the deadly compound alkyl sodium, and experts are still trying to determine how dangerous that poison really is.
There's never been a big spill of this material in the environment. The breakdown products are probably more dangerous than the herbicide itself.
Southern Pacific Railroad crews say several holes punched in the tanker as it fell from a bridge into the river allowed that herbicide to flow into the water. The chemical is still flowing south toward Shasta Lake.
Right now our major concerns are determining what the levels are downriver. We have people coming in to take water samples and air samples to determine what we need to do downriver.
Officials are hoping as the poison moves south, it will become diluted. If that doesn't happen, the murky water you see flowing there will kill tens of thousands of fish once it hits Lake Shasta.
As it moves downriver, it's diluting itself, but it still has had an effect on the wildlife in the area, specifically to the fish.
Due to a chemical spill in the Dunsmuir area, the California Department of Health Service advises travelers not to drink the water between Dunsmuir and Redding.
Radio broadcasts warn drivers to make their way through the mountains quickly. Road crews are also passing the word on.
We're advising you to keep your windows rolled up, your ventilation system closed. Do not stop in the canyon until you get down to the lake. And have a nice day.
At the accident site, the cleanup continues nearly 48 hours after the train derailed, spilling its toxic load into the Sacramento River. 30 miles away, the north end of Lake Shasta sits nearly deserted. Diehards say they'll be back.
Hey, Shasta's beautiful, you know. I don't care what they want to do to it. It's still Shasta.
Kevin McCarty, News 13, Dunsmuir. Well, already.
Take you live to Ventura County, where a toxic chemical scare has shut down Highway 101 and put an entire town on edge.
Also, the latest on the overexposed. Good evening, everybody. I'm Tony Valdez.
And I'm Christine Devine. Topping our news, Highway 101 still completely shut down tonight, just north of Ventura, because of a train derailment.
14 cars of a Southern Pacific freight train jumped the tracks, sparking brush fires and fears about toxic chemicals. Cristina Gonzalez has more from the scene in Seacliff.
A foul-smelling cloud of gas spilled out of the derailed cars. Hazmat experts say at least 4 of the cars were carrying dangerous solvents, including jet fuel. About 300 people have been evacuated. The 101 was closed from the Santa Barbara County line to Highway 33 in northern Ventura, making every other road in the area virtual parking lots. Initial reports indicate that a wheel axle came loose, dragging on the rails, but Southern Pacific officials refuse to confirm anything at the moment. The only 2 injuries were news photographers who got too close to the gas. They were taken to nearby hospitals. Those injuries are considered minor. In Santa Barbara, I'm Cristina Gonzalez, Fox 11 News.
And just to emphasize the point that we cannot overemphasize tonight about the freeway situation, let us look at a map of the affected area. Now, Highway 101 is going to be closed in both directions around Seacliff. It is shut down from just north of Ventura to the Santa Barbara County line. If you are heading north from the Los Angeles area, the California Highway Patrol suggests this alternate route take whichever, the Highway 101 or the 126 to Route 33 north from Ventura, then the 150 west back toward the coastline.
Another story we've been following.
Our top story, the train derailment that shut down Highway 101 north of Ventura. Let's go to Cristina Gonzalez live in Ventura County. Cristina.
Well, we are right on the freeway, and you can see how eerie this is. It is completely empty. The only cars you see are from CHP officials. They're taking people out of here. If you're planning on driving to Santa Barbara, just don't do it. On one hand, we have CHP officials telling us they don't know when they'll be able to reopen the freeway. They're talking about maybe tomorrow morning. On the other hand, we have hazmat experts saying they're not really sure how toxic the stuff coming out of those cars really is. Earlier, we talked to you about a jet fuel composite, and that is called aqueous hydrazine. It's a corrosive liquid. It is seeping out of the trucks, and they are worried about it seeping into the ground, perhaps into the groundwater. There's also this white stuff all around the trains and the cars, and they still have not been able to identify the stuff. They've been battling the fires. There were 2 kinds of fires. The fires on the side, on the rails, from when the train just kept on hitting the rails, and those are out, but there were some chemical fires out of 2 cars that they were still fighting as of tonight. Again, the highway is closed. If you have to come to Santa Barbara, rather not, but if you have to, plan on 2 to 3 hours at least. And again, they still don't know how toxic the stuff coming out of those cars really is. They do have a Red Cross shelter out at the Ventura County Fairgrounds for people who have been evacuated. Again, about 300 people evacuated. Live from Santa Barbara, I'm Cristina Gonzalez. Back to you at the studio.
Cristina, let me ask you a question. Southern Pacific Railroad, this is just the latest in a number of toxic spills that they are in, and accidents that they've been involved in. What is the SP telling you tonight?
They're not saying much of anything right now. As a matter of fact, they won't even confirm a cause of the derailment. You know, the last one was on July 14th out at the Sacramento River Canyon, and there was the incident with the pollution of the river and the Shasta Reservoir. So they are very wary right now. They are not giving any statements. All they are saying is, yes, we are looking at it. We are investigating it. Why those chemicals were inside that train, why it wasn't labeled as dangerous, we still don't know. We are trying to find out. I don't think we're going to be able to get any straight answers until tomorrow.
All right, Cristina, thank you very much. A warning from the National Weather Service today.
Ventura County train derailment continue to grow. Highway 101 could stay closed until Wednesday, and some of the evacuees may not get home until tomorrow. Cristina Gonzalez joins us live now from the scene with the latest. Cristina?
Well, Chris, you were right. The whole operation has been delayed. You see, what's happened is that aside from the 440 gallons of hydrazine that originally leaked from the train yesterday, hazmat workers have found 48 other barrels of the stuff. Now, those barrels are damaged. They are not leaking, but they have to take care of that before they continue what they call neutralizing, which is what they've been doing. Let's show you what they've been doing all day, actually. Hazmat workers spent most of the day spraying a neutralizer on the dangerous hydrazine and measuring air samples. They're wearing oxygen tanks under those suits and have to be scrubbed down when they leave the so-called hot zone. How unsafe is the area? This photographer from a local paper got too close and had to be decontaminated.
Did you feel any symptoms? My throat is very dry, my eyes are hurting, and I got a headache.
Firefighter Jules Grigg explains how dangerous hydrazine can be.
It's that inhalation or skin absorption can cause death. It can cause temporary blindness. It can cause dizziness. It can cause nausea. It can cause damage to your liver, damage to your lungs, cause damage to your blood-forming organs.
Until the hydrazine is neutralized, Caltrans workers won't be able to assess the damage to this freeway overpass. The fear is that support pillars may have been damaged, as well as 2 gas lines next to the rails. The derailment brought out United Transportation Union members who insist this wouldn't have happened if there were more than 2 people manning the train.
Unequivocally, if there had been a caboose on this train, an occupied manned caboose with people on the lookout, 6 miles back, they would have gotten this stop before this mess.
Southern Pacific officials confirm a roller bearing journal, in essence a wheel bearing, failed. But even the company's president couldn't answer how it could have dragged for miles without anyone noticing.
In the last 30 miles, this particular train has been past 1 electronic hot box detector, 3 dragging equipment detectors, and had a full visual inspection at Ventura where it met another train.
Well, you can see here the damage to the rail from the wheel axle that ripped. It was dragging for a while. We're about half a mile away from where the train actually derailed, so you can see it was dragging for quite a while, breaking the rail. About 30 people have been evacuated just from this area. It is very likely that they will not be able to go home tonight. As for the freeway, the 101, well, Chris, as you said, it probably will not be until Wednesday when they can open it again. Again, we are waiting for that truck to be able to clear out the stuff from those extra barrels. It is not that it is leaking. People should not be worried about that. But if they don't clean that out, they can neutralize. They would neutralize. If that stuff leaks, they would have to do it all over again. So we may be here for 2-3 days. You never know. Live from Seacliff, I'm Cristina Gonzalez. Back to you in the studio.
Christina, we know there's a monster traffic jam as the cars on 101 are rerouted past the wreckage there. How is the community of Seacliff and the area of Ventura reacting to all of this?
Well, aside from being angry about the traffic, there was a problem. Yesterday, when we came here at about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we did not know, neither did hazmat workers know what they were dealing with until about 5, 6 in the afternoon. Now, the train is supposed to carry a manifest in which it's supposed to list everything that they're carrying. We spoke to Southern Pacific officials. They say they had a manifest. They knew what it was. Hazmat officials are not commenting, but as of yesterday at about 5 o'clock, they did not know. The community is very angry about that and about the fact that the stuff was not, there were no danger signs on the barrels themselves. The question is, if you're carrying stuff like this in a train, shouldn't it be labeled as dangerous in case something like this happens?
Okay, Cristina Gonzalez reporting live from Seacliff at the site of that Southern Pacific chemical spill from the derailment yesterday. Coming up a little...
Ventura County around Seacliff is still a mess tonight from Sunday's toxic train derailment. Michelle Holden has more now on the deadly conditions facing cleanup crews today. Michelle?
Patty, let me begin by answering what I know has to be everyone's first question. We have no idea when the 101 here in Ventura County will reopen. I know it's difficult for you to see behind me, but right behind me is the derailment site. Now, Caltrans crews are in there right now. They were allowed in because a special chemical has been sprayed, making it safe for them to go in. This has been a day of pumping chemicals and spraying other chemicals. And while all that has its place, there are several other phases that need to take place before the 101 here in Ventura County will reopen. Tonight was spent neutralizing the derailed train cars, a process that will make it possible for hazardous material crews to get in safely and assess the damage. But any way you look at it, it's still a mess in Seacliff. From the air, you can see the mangled wreckage of the Southern Pacific Railroad train that's displacing homeowners, inconveniencing motorists, and frustrating rail passengers for a third day. Efforts today have concentrated on removing the chemical. Drums of hydrazine, a suspected carcinogen, broke open when the train derailed Sunday. Hazardous material crews spent today vacuuming out the chemical. Ventura County Fire Captain Norm Plott says progress has been made, but it's going slower than hoped.
Pumped out 15 barrels, 55-gallon barrels of product, and that operation is complete. It went very smoothly, and the hazardous materials teams are happy with the operation.
9 rail cars were removed today, but the cleanup is by no means going fast enough for some of the 300 people who were forced from their homes because of the derailment. 6 people were allowed in their homes today for a couple hours to, among other things, check on their pets.
It's just been a hardship not being able to have any of your clothes or your medicines, or we don't have any pets, so we didn't worry about that. But it's just been very inconvenient.
For others, it's not getting in their homes, but getting around town that's frustrating. Sales rep Jeannie Mack of Ojai says she hasn't lost money because of the derailment, just her patience.
I stayed in Ojai all day yesterday, tried to get to Santa Barbara yesterday, and it was just unbearable trying to go over the pass. And I figured by the time I got to Santa Barbara, it'd be time to turn around and come home. So it took me about 4 hours to go halfway and come back. So it's been awful.
UC Santa Barbara student Heather McConnell says it's been awful sitting in the traffic backup created because a 10-mile stretch of the 101 in Ventura County is closed. McConnell has been trying to get home to Glendale.
We've been going about 7 miles an hour, and it's been taking a long time. It's been really frustrating, especially with the heat and everything. It's really hot. It's been really hard, and I just can't wait for it to be over.
But not everyone is all hot and bothered by the derailment. This Chevron station in Oak View, just northeast of the derailment, is cashing in. Gas station attendant Damon Yates can't remember when the station has been so busy.
$600 to $700 more worth of gasoline alone. That's what we normally get. And at night, usually the graveyard hours, they're no business at all. The other night since the train derailment, it's been completely full.
Well, as you can see, Damon is certainly a happy guy because of all this. As for when the cleanup will be complete, well, they're still not able to tell us when that will happen. And of course, we don't know when the 101 will open. That's unfortunate for people who are planning to come to Santa Barbara for Fiesta Days, which begins tomorrow. So if you're coming this way, as you certainly know by now, just be prepared to deal with a lot of traffic and take your time. Live in Seacliff, Michelle Holden, Fox 11 News.
All right, Michelle, of course, Fiesta Days will not be much of a fiesta till 101 is open again. Thank you.
Oil seeping.
2 men were killed in Fullerton Monday when the light truck they were in was hit broadside by a passenger train. OCN's Paul Jackson talks with an eyewitness in this report.
Eyewitnesses say the guardrails for the railroad crossing at Raymond and Valencia were activated by Santa Fe Freight Train 553, which was stopped near the intersection to give the right-of-way to Amtrak's Desert Wind, which was approaching the Fullerton train station. Now, unaware the freight train was stopped to allow another train to pass, the driver of the light trucks were out of waiting traffic and attempted to cross the tracks.
Possibly became impatient, and he entered the southbound lanes traveling northbound, wrong side of the road. He drove north, crossed around the gates, and was hit on the right side and blindsided by the westbound Amtrak train is traveling approximately 50 miles an hour.
Michael Leahy was an eyewitness to the collision.
The truck was tossed into a gully about 50 to 75 feet down from the intersection. There were 2 individuals, Latino males, in the vehicle. One was thrown out onto the tracks. Another individual was thrown out in the gully.
Leahy says the 2 men died almost instantly. The force of the impact was so intense the engine of the truck was hurled over 100 feet from the initial point of impact. The aftermath of the collision was particularly gruesome.
When you see it in person, it leaves the sickest impression in the bottom of your stomach to see this happen right in front of your eyes.
According to police, this horrible accident would have never happened if the driver of the truck obeyed the law.
The gates and the lights are there for a purpose, and if you see a train stopped, obviously there may be more than one.
There were 275 people on board the Amtrak, which originated in Chicago. Santa Fe Railroad police say no one on board the train was injured. In Fullerton, Paul Jackson, Orange County News Channel.
The names of the victims have not been released until relatives are notified.
A dramatic change.
Hundreds of gallons of fuel spilled onto railroad tracks Monday evening in Anaheim when an Amtrak train rammed into an abandoned lawnmower. The incident occurred around 5 o'clock near the corner of Sycamore and East Street. Police say the train continued for another mile before coming to a stop. It was then discovered that a tank in the front of the engine car had been ruptured by the collision. Firefighters prepared a makeshift dike to collect the escaping fuel and use chemicals to neutralize any dangerous after effects from the spill.
But with that amount of fuel, you don't want to take a chance. We had a foam rig out here ready to apply foam if necessary. Matter of fact, the spillage that's just on the east side of the tracks near the mobile home park that was involved, we've covered that area with foam to keep the fumes down so we don't have any ignition occur on the diesel fuel.
The train en route from Los Angeles to San Diego was delayed an hour and a half. No injuries were reported.
Okay. I think so.
Right on the trestle here.
What was that?
They got perfect light on the trestle here.
Oh, good deal. Totally messes up this camera when you transmit.
Well, such is life.
What's he calling? Oh, I like your back.
It's in the back compartment, that one.
This takes 4 batteries, right?
Battery of 4 cells.
Should the red light be on if it's live?
Think he'll see us over here? Oh, he's got to stop. I want to get across.
Well, that was tipped.
Another one. That's not the Echo.
Pardon me?
The other. You can looks pretty good from here. I could just barely get your head in the picture there, Bill.
Pacific Railroads. Yeah. Mr. Ken Meeker and gang.
A couple guys with hats. Not some nobody I've ever seen.
That damn tree is right in the way.
I'll come up the trail a little bit. You get some. It's only slippery right there at the beginning, but like I say, you just get up there about 6-7 feet. There's a spot.
Hey Steve, do you have sound on that video?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, close the name on it.
Derailment.
Must not have been Harriman, it must be the other one. They switched the names on it.
No, I'm not happy with any of those shots. You hear the winders going up on it?
Well, great. Well, that was worth the hike. Wonderful. Well, I'll tell you that, you think it was terrific. The only thing I had to hate him for now is following the pace. It used to be my favorite UP picture was the shot of a garbage can at Dorville Yard office with the shield on. I finally got over the feather being flock, and now I gotta go out and feel like it. I was glad station built the forward. Set up for whoever else happens by.
Do you want to stay here or what?
Sure. For a while, anyway. All righty.
Must be going awful slow. You hear them? Might want to look. It might have been just tunnel clearing out. I thought there was a headlight. It might have been the end of the tunnel.
Could be. The smoke does seem to be dying down a little bit.
Huh?
That's a headlight.
Okay, it is a headlight.
Lighting up the rails.
Huh?
He's lighting up the rails. So.
Must be going awfully slow.
A heavy person or a large bear rummaging around down here in the bushes.
Oh, tell him where he can go.
Mr. Flash.
Is it?
I don't know. Huh. Close.
I'm going to shoot the video camera at 1/1000. I'll just go 1/2000 for the hell of it. Air cleared out. Get ready, he's getting close there, Bill.
Very good. I videotape this?
Oh yeah, I'm using 1/2000th shutter speed on the video camera.
How does this camera match up to the one you have? Same quality?
Yeah, it prints a really good picture. I mean, it does pretty good. On the thing is, my camera doesn't have the shutter speed.
What difference does it make?
Well, this thing just stops the action crispy. 1/2000th of a second shutter speed on it.
How much are those little critters?
Yeah, they're about 1400.
Ouch, is that on sale or is that the list?
That's list. Hold on, I hear them. See any side of them? Well, I'm all set.
That last car was jumping. Looks like the trucks are about ready to come up.
Really? Good derailment here in a few minutes.
That's weird. High tech's on a jump train.
Do you have any signal now?
Dead.
Nothing else. nothing else. What the hell was that? Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he went sideways in the tunnel.
This camera's pretty good. I can set up mileposts. I think it just now cleared the tunnel. Yep, I see it. Just start. Maybe that wasn't the end.
Can't say anything because you can air coming out of that tunnel adding to the suction. Orange because of all the
Oh yeah.
snow.
Looks like there's something in it almost.
Yeah. Good.
topography around here, they found out they don't need no goddamn fence. Things clear out fairly fast if you have one asshole. This morning, geez, it's surprising.
Even in the camera, it looks like there's something in it.
That's weird. Maybe it needs to be about 3/4 of the way down there with a medium telephoto. Yeah. Be in the middle of the big cutout is waiting for you guys to go by. Pop out there. That replaces, let's see, Flathead is now the second longest. I think it's like 7.8. That's really weird.
Yeah.
Alright. We should get that left up.
It shouldn't be long.
Yeah, let's go around all night.
You must have had a fast roll by. I wish we were at the other end right now. When he enters this tunnel, there'll be a serious blast at base. Feel it already. These things that just shoot air out there. Diesel, air, anything else you can think of. Here comes the diesel. Oh, you know he's pulling. One way. Yeah, it should be coming around anytime. Yeah, just started. Okay, now you gotta be quiet. Shut up! I should have brought my BB gun.
WR43, over. WR43, over. Are you going to need me off of this siding at Dunsmere? Watch off the side of Dunsmere. Alright, I'll get in the clear.
Get out of the way.
You bastard.
Hey, don't.
Get out of the way!
Damn it.
Out of the way!
Hey, staying up there, kid.
Behind the pole!